So last week, OpenAI announced O3 on their day 12 of announcements for Christmas, or Shipmas as they called it, which was greeted with a lot of fanfare in the media and social media. A lot of AI influencers, especially, were like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. This is the beginning of the end. This is AGI, et cetera, et cetera. So if you go on YouTube right now, you'll see a bunch of people saying AGI is here. And I felt a way about it. I made a video about this. I don't think it's AGI necessarily. I think that the definition of AGI is very unclear. And I think that definitely AI influencers, they oscillate between like, oh my God, this is going to change the world, or this sucks. It's not up to expectation. Like, it's just schizophrenia out there. Right. And so I figured, why not do a post that kind of digs a little bit deeper into some definitions from leading figures, some charts that we know of that kind of summarize at least how do people think about AGI at large. We're going to meander through a little bit here, but hopefully it'll give us a sense of how we can think about AGI. And I think the first place to start, honestly, is with the creator of the term, Shane Legg. Okay, so DeepMind themselves came up with 5 ascending levels of AGI, which we'll get into in a second. But I want to start with Shane Legg here, who is one of DeepMind's co-founders. Now, DeepMind, of course, was acquired by Google in 2014 and was founded in 2010. Huge, major center of AI innovation and research. So Shane Legg here, he says, I see so many discussions where people seem to be using the term to mean different things, and that leads to all sorts of confusion. He came up with the term in the first place around 20 years ago. Now that AGI is becoming such an important topic, even the UK Prime Minister is talking about it, we need to sharpen up what we mean. It wasn't always this way. Talk of AGI was once derided in serious conversation as vague at best and magical thinking at worst, but buoyed by the hype around generative models. Buzz about AGI is now everywhere. So when Legg suggested the term to his former colleague and fellow researchers Ben Goertzel for the title of Goertzel's 2007 book about future developments in AI, the hand-waviness was kind of the point. I didn't have an especially clear definition. I didn't really feel it was necessary, says Legg. I was actually thinking of it more as a field of study rather than an artifact. His aim at the time was to distinguish existing AI that could do one task very well, like IBM's chess-playing program Deep Blue, from the hypothetical AI that he and many others imagined would one day do many tasks very well. Human intelligence is not like Deep Blue, says Legg. It is a very broad thing. So if you start having those conversations, you need to be a lot more specific about what you mean, he says. So I think this is key to think about, especially like from the creator of the term itself. Like, he was ambiguous from the very beginning. So if it's an ambiguous term, why are we jumping to the conclusion that based on a model like O3, which isn't even out yet, is AGI, right? And what do we mean by that even, right? And so there's another thing. Let's go to Demis Hassabis, the other co-founder of DeepMind. When asked to define AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, Hassabis responded, human level cognition. I mean, okay, human, I guess we can say is okay. What do I mean by human level? Right? Like, what is human level? Is it my level? Is it someone with a higher IQ, a lower IQ, someone who has a higher EQ, lower EQ, etc.? Like, all these things, like, and how do we define that? And how do we define what is cognition, right? Big question marks here. If we look at Amazon's definition, artificial general intelligence is a field of theoretical AI research, so it's specifically a field that attempts to create software with human-like intelligence and the ability to self-teach. Now, this is a big addition here. So human-like intelligence is near what Demis Hassabis is saying with the, human-level cognition. But then the ability to self-teach is key. The aim is for the software to be able to perform tasks that is not necessarily trained or developed for. So that is really interesting. Like, so that it can encounter new things and teach itself. So that, I don't even think we're quite there yet. We seem to be very close, but yeah, that's pretty interesting. OpenAI's definition, on the other hand, is interesting. Since the beginning, we have believed that powerful AI culminating in AGI, meaning a highly autonomous system that outperforms humans at most economically valuable work. So this is another addition here, economically valuable work, and has the potential to reshape society and bring tremendous benefits, along with the risks that must be safely addressed. So they add this kind of safety element here. The increasing capabilities of present day systems mean it's more important than ever, blah, 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 blah. So you get the sense here, economically valuable work, reshaping society, bringing tremendous benefits, along with needing safety to be addressed. And of course, with AWS's or Amazon's approach, it's the ability to self-teach, right? So it's encountering new things and teaching. Then you go to Ilya Sutskever, major co-founder of OpenAI and co-founder now of Safe Superintelligence. He says, he described AGI as a computer system that can do any job or any task that a human does, but only better. So it's about tasks in particular, which begs the question of automation specifically, like robots, etc. So yeah, so that gives you a few kind of definitions to play with. There's economically valuable work. There's tasks that humans do. There's self-teaching. There's human level cognition, whatever that may mean, and intelligence, etc. So that gives you a sense of the definition of AGI from a bunch of these major figures in short. Now let's look at some kind of frameworks that people have come up with, right? So here is one. I think this is modeled off of Google DeepMind, as you can see here, according to Morris, Meredith, Ringgold. Levels of AGI operationalizing progress on the path to AGI, Google DeepMind. So we have these essentially 6 levels or 5 levels, are they described here, but we start with level 0, no AI. Narrow task-specific computer programs without AI. Example given, compilers. There's general human-in-the-loop computing, mechanical Turk type of applications. So humans are actually doing the tasks, there's just the computer program in the middle. Level 1, emerging, equal to or somewhat better than an unskilled human. Simple rule-based systems, ChatGPT, Llama 2, Bard. So simple stuff. Okay, we are already past level 1, and which is only in the last few years, right? Arguably, ChatGPT was out earlier amongst research, but this is still, within, let's say, the last 5 years. Level 2, competent, at least 50th percentile of skilled adults, smart speakers, LLMs for specific tasks like essay writing. General, not achieved yet. Now, I don't know if this is, I feel like this is achieved now with where Claude and ChatGPT are, right? We do have smart speakers. We do have LLMs for specific tasks. So that does exist. Level 3, expert, at least 90th percentile of skilled adults, spelling and grammar checks, generative images, e.g. Midjourney. This is said as not achieved yet, although I don't know why it lists Grammarly and Midjourney, because that feels also like it maybe is achieved. Or maybe this is just an analogy. Oh, it's general, I see. So narrow level we have achieved, narrow level we have achieved here. We have not achieved a general level of these either. Okay, so they're kind of distinguishing between general and narrow. Then we got level 4, and we'll have another chart where we'll dig into this further. So level 4, virtuoso, at least 99th percentile of skilled adults. Narrow, AlphaGo, so being able to beat the experts. Definitely not achieved yet now. And then level 5, superhuman, outperforms 100% of humans. AlphaFold, predicting a protein's 3D structure from an amino acid sequence. That's pretty cool. We have achieved that, and we have not achieved that for humans. There's also another chart here that does a similar kind of analogy where it looks at, okay, autonomy level 1, information seeking with the aid of a search engine, revising writing with the aid of grammar checking program, reading with a sign with machine translation app. So we have achieved that. Relying on a language model to summarize a set of documents. We have achieved that. Accelerating computer programming with the code generation model. We are here today as of the last, let's say, 6 months. Consuming most entertainment via a sophisticated recommender system. Yep, we're here. Training as a chess player through interactions with analysis of chess playing AI. That we are there with that. Entertainment via social interactions with AI generated personalities. We are that. So we have achieved all this on a narrow level. Using an AI to advance scientific discovery, we are not quite here yet, or at least we do need a human in the loop on that one. And autonomy level 5, autonomous AI-powered personal assistants, we're not yet quite there yet, even at a narrow level. So it's kind of interesting. Here's another chart, which is kind of general, like we are here, we're approaching a human level of intelligence, and we're not quite yet at moderately superhuman. That's kind of funny. These 4 phases of AGI, it's a different one. And this is a similar chart from the last one that we just saw. And I'm trying to look at, what does it mean for the general here, right? So this we have AI systems equal to or somewhat better than an unskilled human for specific tasks. Yes. AI systems at least as capable as skilled as a human performing specific tasks. Yes. At a high skill level, yes. High skill level, yes. And outperform all humans in specific tasks, yes. Like, so it's interesting that we have achieved these things in narrow AI. It's just a question of how do we apply this level of technology to these other ones here that are, emerging AGI, general non-AI. So like all of these have not yet been achieved at an AGI level. So pretty interesting, if you ask me. And from here, we're also looking at this table too. It's kind of got a similar thing there. So these are kind of how these have been updated. And I think it's pretty interesting that some of these really have been achieved only in the last few years. So how many years does it take for us to go from this to go over here? I mean, look at this, like GoFi is an emerging narrow AI. That was 2014 into 2023 with OpenAI. So that's a jump. 1971 into 2023. So these are big stretches, but I think that the stretch from here to here might be faster than we think, especially with multimodal AI. So that gives you a sense of that 5 levels type of AI framework, right? Now we look into kind of how we would see it kind of like as a gradation and maybe how we would predict it looking forward. It's interesting because this is from Wait But Why, and Wait But Why, I highly recommend like reading through his post, and this is old, right, from 2015. And this really put me on to AI a long time ago. And the way that he defines it is these 3. And now that we've been introduced to ANI, narrow intelligence, sometimes referred to as weak AI, artificial narrow intelligence is AI that specializes in one area. There's AI that can beat the world chess champion or the Go champion, but that's the only thing it does. Ask it to figure out a better way to store data on hard drive, and it'll look at you blankly, okay? AGI, sometimes referred to as strong AI or human-level AI, artificial general intelligence refers to a computer that is as smart as a human across the board, a machine that can perform any intellectual task that a human being can. Creating AGI is a much harder task than creating ANI, and we're yet to do it. Professor Linda Gottfredson describes intelligence as a very general mental capability that, among other things, involves the ability to reason, plan, solve problems, think abstractly, comprehend complex ideas, learn quickly, and learn from experience. I don't see creativity in there, which is kind of interesting. AGI would be able to do all of those things as easily as you can. So that's what a great definition. Very strong there. And then lastly, AI caliber 3, artificial superintelligence, which we haven't even discussed here. Oxford philosopher and leading AI thinker Nick Bostrom defines superintelligence as an intellect that is much smarter than the best human brains in practically every field, including scientific creativity, general wisdom, and social skills. Artificial superintelligence ranges from a computer that's just a little smarter than a human to one that's trillions of times smarter across the board. ASI is the reason the topic of AI is such a spicy meatball, and why the words immortality, and extinction will both appear in these posts multiple times. Let's finish this off. He says, as of now, humans have conquered the lowest caliber of AI, ANI, in many ways, and it's everywhere. And to be fair, like, we are here across the board, right, with charts like this, right? Like, we have hit all the ANI levels here. The AI revolution is the road from ANI through AGI to ASI, a road we may or may not survive, but that either way will change everything. And I love this chart, right, that he has here, which shows like at some point we're just going to get lapped, right? So, and this exponential curve of computing, as it's being shown here, is going to show us kind of lapping somewhere around here, right? One human brain and all human brains. So like, he also has this really funny chart where it's like, our distorted view of intelligence, haha, that's adorable. The funny robot can do monkey tricks, which is a lot of people right now are, like, I talk to people who are kind of anti-AI and they're like, oh, it'll never get to anything. And that's how they are. That's their attitude right now. And then this is where we might end up, that's adorable. The funny robot can do monkey tricks. And then we're like, holy shit, like, boom, it's going to lap us. And it's not even going to hit us, right? And that curve here, as you can see here, it's kind of interesting. He shows that the curve from ant to bird is more steady. It gets more and more exponential until this moment that we pass from dumb human to Einstein level human. It's going to be so fast, we're not even going to see it coming, right? So really, really powerful. So this is kind of a similar chart here, right? Human performance is kind of at a constant growth, and we are here. And maybe this is where Neuralink comes in and things like that. Like, how do we accelerate the brain's progress? But who knows? So anyway, those are some pretty interesting charts based on that. Where things get really interesting, and here's another chart that's kind of funny from Zapier. Now, where things get kind of interesting to me is, how does OpenAI define its different scales of AGI, right? So I would say that we're probably around 2 to 3, but it says currently that current AI like ChatGPT that talks with humans, that's where level 1 is for them. So this is a very different system than the DeepMind system that we were looking at over here, right? It's very different from that. This is their own kind of thinking, a different kind of pyramid. It's kind of confusing, right? 5 levels. But then we've got AI that can solve basic problems like a PhD without tools. So I think we are there, right? ChatGPT is being claimed to be a PhD level of intelligence at ChatGPT 4.01, right? Then we're talking about AI agents capable of taking actions on a user's behalf. And we're starting to get there, right? AI agents are where a lot of investment is being made and a lot of progress is likely to be made in the next year, especially because AI agents themselves don't necessarily need to leverage ChatGPT 5, 6, 7, right? You can use ChatGPT 4 and get a lot out of it. If anything, O1 is kind of like an agentic behavior where it's like having the AI kind of pause and think more in a way that's kind of like agentic in a way. We are not yet at the point where AI that can create new innovations, although it's interesting because I do think that AI is hallucinating and that is its own form of creativity. AI is also able to synthesize and that is its own type of creativity. So remains to be seen what this actually means. And then lastly, AI that can perform the work of entire organizations of people. And I definitely don't think we're there and we're definitely not here. So we're like just approaching level 3. So from that perspective, OpenAI's on a 5-level AGI scale, and maybe OpenAI sees all of these as AGI, and these are just the levels of AGI. But it's it's being alluded to that this is what AGI is in this kind of definition. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. So I think that's kind of an interesting balance here, where we're looking at this other pyramid here that has we're talking about generalized superhuman behavior, right? And it's unclear like how that is being performed, and maybe here it's personal assistant type behavior, virtuoso type behavior, but in this case we are looking at organizational level performance, right? So that gives you a sense of the 5 levels of AGI. I hope that kind of helps to maybe kind of calm the assessment of what is AGI and what it can do, and at least even prepare us, especially with this chart here, prepare us for what we mean when we're talking about AGI in particular, and how we would anticipate it. So like if we map ourselves against this chart, this pyramid here, like where do we fit in, right? How do we fit into this chart, and how do we understand what our role is as humans as AGI moves up this chart? So all right, Joel. So hopefully that's helpful for kind of understanding where we are. And I hope that you can take this away. So let me know if I get anything wrong or if you have any comments. Thanks.